circle, triangle, X, square, circle. Oh my God, dude.
Lord.
Dude, Parappa the Rapper. Oh my God. So the Red Cartel showed their fucking true colors this past week. We'll be
And
diving in that
to
here in
think
a
we
little
thought
bit.
this was going to be a slow and easy trying to find content for international break show on Wednesday night. Not so
Nope.
much. Not so much on that one, bro.
Nope, not even a little bit. We'll get to that here in a minute. Welcome to the Snobby Boys. All right, everybody, welcome to the Snobby Boy Podcast. I'm your host, Colby. That's my homeboy, Joe, over there. He's here with me every week. We're going to be talking about some city news. We're going to do some crowd interaction tonight. Pretty excited about it. Joe, what exactly are we talking about?
Before we do that, folks
Yeah.
listening and watching and all that good stuff have a task that they need to do.
Yep.
What do they need to do?
They have to hit the like, the
That's
subscribe, and hit the
Two.
notification bell. Right?
That's three things. That's
Just three
not
things.
hard to do.
Right.
And it'll take you like 5 seconds.
Literally,
Done.
just click,
Real
click,
quick.
click,
Yeah.
click.
And maybe, go ahead and share it out. Retweet it.
That would be even better.
Copy it from the YouTube link that you're watching. Throw it up on your social medias. Share it out. Do your part. We appreciate that.
We're doing our part. You do your part.
Because we're here. We're talking. We're being the content creators. Now we need y'all to be content sharers.
Yes.
And do all that good stuff.
That would be so cool. Super cool.
We appreciate it. So tonight in City News, a lot has happened since we last were on Sunday, which was not that long ago. So a lot of stuff to discuss. The APT results, associate party transactions dropped, and we have secured a large win, according to a variety of reports, against the Premier League.
A small win for everybody else who wanted to fucking try to tear it down on social media. A bunch of wankers.
Yes, so we will be diving into that. We'll talk a little bit during that discussion about the potential impact this might have on the 115 trial. We also got news and word. More Pep rumors popped up. We had the news coming out that Txiki is going to be retiring at the end of this season, and we have a potential replacement lined up that's supposed to be joining the club in early 2025 to transition into that role once the season is over. Once again, Stefan Ortega is in the news a little bit about either wanting out in January or the summertime if he's not guaranteed the number one role. We'll talk a little bit about that piece. And then with Txiki retiring, then we'll talk a little bit about how that impacts Pep moving forward, because there's been a lot of alleged reports coming out around Pep and an extension, or is he leaving, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk and dive into that a little bit more. So that's the city news piece. For crowd interaction, that's really on y'all. You guys drop in some things you want to talk about. Last time we were out, Hal let us know he wanted to talk a little bit about the MLS and the pyramid structure in the U.S. soccer world. So we'll dive into that a little bit if and when he's with us. And then as we go along, if there's something that you guys want us to talk about and engage with us with, drop it in the chat. Let us know. And we will be monitoring that to engage with y'all. And then at the end, we'll kind of just shoot the shit and see where we're at and have some fun together. I might have a couple of rapid fire questions for Colby. And then we'll kind of just bro out a little bit and talk.
Sounds like a plan to me, bud.
It does, doesn't it?
Let's
Should
do
be
it.
A good episode. No,
all right, so
no recaps or anything today. Just city news to start us off.
Let's get on with this APT thing, because Lord knows the internet fucking had a field day with it, whether you were on our side or the others. The Red
Yes.
Cartel really decided they wanted to amp up their game and try to minimize it as much as they possibly could, which, dude,
They showed their asses, that is for sure.
fucking infants, man. Fucking
Absolutely
infants.
ridiculous. So the club on Monday put out a statement about the findings and what the tribunal decided. We'll go through a couple of the highlight pieces, the really important ones that kind of stood out the most with this. First one, the club has succeeded with its claim the associate party transaction rules have been found to be unlawful, and the Premier League's decisions on two specific Manchester City Football Club sponsorship transactions have been set aside. So, key here, the APT rules have been found to be unlawful. That is a highlight piece there.
Unlawful.
That's a big deal. That's not just that's there's a reason why the club put that one in first on the statement was unlawful. You're not allowed to do these things. These are not fair rules. They shouldn't have been in place to begin with. So that is the first piece. Second piece, the tribunal found that both the original APT rules that were put in place in 2021 and the current amended rules violate the UK's competition law and violate the requirements of procedural fairness. So again, we are violating competition law and procedural fairness. Big things here. Now, before we give our thoughts on this, just as to preface this whole conversation, we are clearly not lawyers.
We're
We
not
are not well
litigators.
versed in UK law or sports law. So this whole conversation, we are just prefacing it with these are our feelings, opinions, thoughts on the matters. Please don't take this as
We ain't standing on a
the
soapbox.
gospel. No, where this is just us talking about these things as we see them through our perspective. So just putting that disclaimer out now. So
Right.
Colby, what were your feelings, thoughts when you first saw this news come across your phone screen,
Well,
whatever?
of course, it's it's a win to wake up to on Monday morning. Um, but I really want to get to the heart of this, especially for most Americans, uh, and overall for the sport. As far as competition goes, something that we're not used to here in the United States are these laws that you have in place for being competitive or whatever it may be. Listen, dude, competitive, right, is spread across multiple different facets in American sports. It's not just wins and losses. Okay. Big thing is that if your team brings in revenue, they typically put it into the next year. Typically, the league they put some sort of cap on how much you can spend in that season. Can't go above it. If you do, you're screwing yourself for later seasons. Um, Especially if you do some kind of crazy trade with draft picks and this, that, and the other, you could really lose out on a lot of revenue, especially because you're not bringing in players that are contributing to the team and creating wins. Um, Moreover, that is the fact that if your team is doing good, it's not like you get any extra money. You know what I mean? It's all based on revenue. People show up if a team's doing good. It's just as simple as that, right? You can also count on the people that have season tickets for X amount of time. They're going to show up regardless. They've already paid their due to be there for the year, more than likely. Or they've bought the season ticket lot and they're selling them out to friends throughout the season, so they are not having to take on all the cost. But I'm getting away from where I want to go with this. It's just hard for my head to get wrapped around. Period. These competitive laws of you can only make money this way. This no, dude. Like, I'm sorry, it's my team. My team. There's rules that I have to stay within. Sure, I'll do that, but you can't tell me what money I can and cannot spend when and where. Especially in this league, right, where you've got teams who are taking loans from people and not paying good on them. We don't do that shit here, and we don't do that shit at City. It's not the way we run shit. So you want to sit here and get an our ass about your team and how much money they've taken from outside sources, and you've not done anything with it, and you've shit the bed literally. Why is that our fucking problem? Why is your incompetence our problem? That's my big question in all of this.
Yeah, and a big chunk of it too is the fact that they were allowing other clubs, i.e., the red grouping,
Arsenal,
to
Liverpool,
to to take loans,
Brighton,
large,
Wolves,
very large loans out from
Everton.
their ownership. So they were allowed to take out loans, and those were okay. So, but it wasn't okay to do these associate party transactions. So you can't say no to one and yes to another when
Yeah,
there's essentially the same practice, which made it very clear that what they were trying to do was take out the Newcastles and the cities of state funded ownership groups. But to me, it's essentially the same thing. You're borrowing money, you're using other sources of money. Why is it okay for Arsenal to take out $200 million loans from their like ownership group and then fund it into the club, but we weren't able to do the things that we had to do?
right.
It's just the hypocrisy level from the red side was out of control on Monday. The fact that they felt like the Premier League also was trying to save face and telling clubs inaccurate information, and to the point where we had to send out a notice to all of the other 19 clubs saying this is not true. The Premier League is spreading incorrect information, and if y'all want to keep spreading their bullshit, which is right
It's
on
on you.
Colby's shirt right there, um, will be more legal action that's coming down the road if y'all want to keep doing that. It's really simple to me. If the Premier League scored such a great victory and the victory that Man City is claiming is insignificant, why wasn't the Premier League first to start reporting this information? Why was City and everything dropping in their news outlets and everything dropping all this information first? If the Premier League truly won, they would have been first dropping all this information saying, "Hey, City lost this. We're fine. We're all fine and dandy." So this was very obviously and clearly a City win. You can try to spin it however you want. Um, this isn't about money. This isn't about paying people off to get the result we wanted. A independent tribunal of 3 judges decided that what the rules were unlawful and against fair competition. We didn't do anything wrong. Okay, this is not a city spending money to get the result that they want. This is facts, not feelings like the rest of y'all red fans were trying to shove down our throats all day Monday. And guess what? It wasn't bothering any of us in the slightest because we know what's up.
Right.
That was a great day. Y'all are not gonna, dampen our spirits because you want to be dickheads
Oh
on the
no.
internet.
Oh no.
We're
Oh,
just
wait,
gonna
wait,
point and laugh at
I
y'all.
loved watching every single one of you burn. I loved watching it for once. I loved it because most of the red cartel people out there, they torched themselves on the internet. Like there was one person who was on about the fact that there was only 2 parts of the APT out of 35 that we won, and that we're making a big deal out of nothing. Well, a win is a win at the end of the day. You're chipping away at the block, however you want to see it. Um, and we're going to take our small wins as they go or as they come. It's just as simple as that. If you don't like it, we don't care because it's just disproving you, and that's what you're really butthurt about, isn't it? You're just butthurt that it's not your team. It's not. This isn't happening to you, dude. It's not our fault that your clubs can't spend right. It's just not. It's just ain't your time.
Not all of the victories in that are weighted the same either. The
No,
two that we won were the biggest and most important ones. So that obviously is going to be the lead story, and that's going to have the biggest impact on all these other things. Those little small itty bitty things that they might have gotten off, the Premier League might have won, not nearly as important or carry as much weight as the decision that we read earlier about the unlawfulness of an unfair decision, creation of these things. Because what it comes down to was when they created all this and were going through this, they were just rushing to get rules in place because Newcastle's new ownership group came in, bought the club, and they wanted to rush
Mm-hmm.
to block them from being able to do any kind of funding from the state of Saudi Arabia. They rushed through all this shit. They tried to get rules in place, not doing due diligence, and when that happens, shit gets missed,
Yep.
and things become has now turned into into where we are now, where you have now shown that y'all are incompetent. Y'all have shown that you cannot be trusted to govern yourselves accordingly at this point.
Yep.
So what Man City has been saying for so long is we need an independent oversight over the people who are governing the Premier League at this point, because they clearly have shown, especially now we have evidence right here in front of us this past week, that they cannot be trusted to run the organization in a fair manner for all clubs, not just a select group.
Right. I'd also like to throw this into the mix. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I can't help but to think that when people are on our case or when they're trying to do this type of shit, that it isn't rooted in racism.
Exactly. That's what it all comes down to.
You have a problem with brown people, and that's the real issue. And that shouldn't be the issue. This is about football. It's about sports. It's ain't about what melanin you got. And the fact that y'all take it there is sick and diluted and disgusting. And there's no place for that around here. You want to bring it to our attention? I'll work you, and so will he.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not tolerable behavior. And I will call. I'm sorry if this offends anybody, because God knows I've been told this is racist. I'm going to call a spade a spade. I'm going to say it just the way the fuck it is. The funny thing is, in both of the clubs that you have a problem with, is that they got Middle Eastern owners. If they didn't have Middle Eastern owners, what would be the gripe then? What's the next thing you got? But the fact that it's based in this to begin with, not a good look. It's not a good look.
The real problem is what you just mentioned. It's
Subject.
what up, Nick? It's ownership groups from a different area that have owners who have a different skin color as they do. Because if it really was just about the money, guess who had all of the money in the late 90s, early 2000s when the Premier League started? It was Manchester United. They were the richest club in the world. And everything was fine then. You could have as much money, you could be the richest team, and there was no problems with it, with having money and spending it and being the one who spent all of the money on the top players. And that was all fine and dandy. But when it's not your club, it's coming from a club that's owned by people in the Middle East. Now it's a problem. Now it's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as the Americans
as
started
day.
coming in, it was an issue too.
Yeah.
What is the prejudice over there? Like, you guys on the whole are the last people who get to be prejudiced in the world because of all the shit that your past has in it. Like, let's be real. You can sit here and look at us and talk about the transatlantic slave trade, but you had every part in that issue. We can go deeper into that, but that's not what this podcast is about. But if we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. We have, from the time that we've started really watching the game, and even more so since we started being present in social media and on a podcast, I have experienced more prejudice from people of my own skin color than anything. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
That's it's preposterous. Like, you all need to grow up for the most part. It's time to stop looking at surface level shit that means nothing. Character. Kill clubs, total net spend. City are 9th. This money bullshit is just hypocrisy. Yep, we're fully aware, bub. Fully aware. It's all it is hypocrisy. It's all a diversion too. They're gonna blame us for doing this, but what are they doing behind the scenes that we don't know about? That they're feeling comfortable enough to wash us or try to wash us away. But what are you really doing back here?
Mm-hmm.
We experience that every day in the media. You talk about the Diddy situation. Yeah, it's happening, but that's only because there's other shit really happening behind the fucking behind the other wall that you can't see. That's what they do to you. Stop being divisive.
Distraction,
Stop.
distraction,
Stop.
distract. Yeah.
Yeah. Stop being divisive. Stop trying to separate yourselves because in a little bit of time, I promise you, you're going to regret being so fucking hateful. And that's just on life. That's not in football. That's just in life. But if we're going to sit here, we're going to
Exactly.
hate. Well, we're just having fun, y'all. It's a sport. It's a game. It's not a dick. You don't have to ride it so goddamn hard. Fucking hell. Yeah, APT.
Big facts.
On the whole, Joe, what's your opinion on APT?
I'm glad that we have a decision at this point, and we can move forward with the next piece.
Yep,
At this point,
I'll take that.
this was the result this is the result I anticipated. The club was steadfast from the get go that they were going to come out of this uh, smelling like roses, and they were going to handle their business and be proven that they were correct and accurate. That's what happened. So once again, trust in the club. They're not bullshitting us. They're not blowing smoke up our ass. They have been doing things fairly and above the board this whole time. So this just leads more ammo into the current trial that's going on right now with the 115 for me.
Right.
Um, a lot of the big charges and allegations had to do with us funneling sponsorship money illegally into the club. Now, all those rules are thrown out the window. So for me and my limited lawyer knowledge and everything, if those rules aren't shown to be unlawful and unfair and aren't a part of it anymore, I don't see how you can continue with those charges in the 115 case at this point. They should be just thrown out the window because if those laws are unfair, then we didn't do anything wrong at the time with that. Even
Yep.
whether we did or not, those charges are now moot and should be just thrown away. So I feel like clearly there is going to be some overlap between this result from this week going into the 115 case. And related to that, it's been going on for a little while, and there is still absolute silence on what's been going on in the courtroom from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think that if the Premier League was so confident that they were going to take care of business and squash everything, that there would be a little bit more noise coming from that side, but there has not been anything. So, from my limited law experience and thoughts, great result for us. One I expected, and now let's move on and let's smash this next one so we can be done with all of this off the pitch bullshit with lawyers and everything because it's time to be done with it. We've been dealing with it for what seems like forever at this point between UEFA trying to get us and failing and now the Premier League also trying to do the exact same thing using the same information that's already been deemed to be wrong. So let's just get this shit done and
Mm-hmm.
let's move on because there's other things I would prefer to be talking about our club, namely who's going to be the next manager down the road, what's Pep doing, what's going on. I like talking tactics, I like talking transfers, I like talking player performance. I don't like talking about all this other bullshit. So
Yep.
I'm excited that the conclusion to all of this crap, one way or the other, is in sight and we can move past it. So
I'll wrap up the APT part with the red media, the red cartel. Y'all are a bunch of whiny little bitches. And I listen. You got a problem with me saying that? Step up to the plate when you see me in real life. Don't try to step up to me on the fucking internet because you look dumb. Just saying. APT is stupid. All these fucking competitive rule or anti whatever. It's stupid. Play the game. There's rules to the game already. We don't need rules on top of rules on top of rules to make it fair so you don't go home and cry with your thumb in your ass to your mommy because that's what most of y'all do.
fair, i.e., equals in this situation, letting the red teams do what they want and continue to be the premier players in the league. They're pissy. that Manchester City
Found a
and to
better
a lesser
business model.
Yep, and then to a lesser extent, Chelsea have been running the show in the Premier League lately. They've been winning multiple titles, succeeding in Europe, unlike
God forbid
all
it was
the
an American odor.
so two clubs that are not the traditional powerhouses of Arsenal, Liverpool, and United are the more successful over the last 10 years. So go do one.
Go do one. Go do a big one.
It might help you. You might feel a little better. You might be less angry.
Maybe.
Endorphins are good for you.
Vitamin D is the best
Depending.
thing you can do.
Yes. We had that
Dude, I'm gonna bang
conversation.
on that every time I get a fucking chance. I
Get
swear.
get some sunlight in your life,
Yeah, dude.
please.
It doesn't even have to be sunlight. You can get it in pill form, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Just go to the fucking pharmacy. I'm sure they got it there.
It's good for you.
It's good for you. Take some
And
B12 on top of it. Might make you happier.
if
Fucking
so.
hell. So we've kind of talked about how that may impact the 115.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's still a laundry list of charges for most that we're gonna have to conquer. This is what have you bleh. Bleh. What is the timetable that you've seen for the 115 trial to be wrapped?
I think by the end of this year is when the trial piece is supposed to be done, but it could take a while for the ruling to come down going into obviously 2025. So we won't see a ruling, I don't think, for a little while now, but the trial piece is supposed to be done, I believe, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong on that, obviously. But I want to say I saw that the trial should be wrapping um, by the end of this year, and then beginning of next year is when the ruling piece will happen and come down.
That can't come fast enough. I
There's
really
a
can't.
joke there's a joke somewhere in there, but I'm gonna let that go.
Yes.
Choo!
Oh my god, let's talk about Pep.
Yeah, he's in Abu Dhabi right now
He's in Abu Dhabi.
for scheduled media appearances and things during the international break. So I wouldn't read too much into that. However, anytime he's over there, conversations are happening. So depending on what reports you see, I've seen everything from he's out at the end of this year for sure to um, 2 year extension looks to be close and in the works and could be announced before the end of this year. Um, for me, for Pep, I'm still going to go back to what he said, which was November, December. There'll be a sit down discussion and they will decide then what the next steps are going to be and what the extension is going to be, or if he's going to hang around, um, or if he's going to leave. And it seems to me people are recycling old stories once again that he, from people close to Pep, that's the sources that they're citing. Who might that be? There's a lot of people that are around him. Some know more than others. Nobody knows more about what he's doing than the man himself.
Yep.
So there is no point on speculating based on the people that are around Pep and their feelings. It's how they think and what they think he's going to do. It's not what Pep's going to do. It's not anything Pep has told them. It's their perspective and their feelings and their opinions, which don't carry a lot of weight for me. I don't care what they think. I don't care what they feel about what Pep's doing. I care about what Pep has said and his actions. So for me, I hope the 2 year extension piece is what we're closer to. It seems like, um, based on what I'm reading him say in press conferences and his demeanor, is that he doesn't seem like he's going anywhere anytime soon. He seems to be putting out that he loves the club. He's anxious about the Club World Cup in the summertime and the lack of support from the Premier League about not getting extension for next year for them. So to me, all signs point to at minimum a 1 year extension to get him to 10 years and then revisit again maybe. But I, I, that's where I'm at. Where are you at, man?
Uh, If Pep stays, great. We all want him to stay. It's not the issue. It's the fact that people have gotten so wrapped up in these words that he puts out, and we all understand that he speaks broken English for the most part. So you have to really take what he says and really listen instead of like just making it what you want it to be. I think that there's still a future here for Pep. I still think that I won't say that it's going to be long. I still think that there's a future. And just like you said, for as many things that we've heard, you know, whether it be through pressers, whether it be through, other interviews, um, it, it, it doesn't, none of us get the feeling, at least the two of us get the feeling he's leaving in the next 2 to 3 seasons. It just doesn't. It doesn't really make sense for him to leave when you're in the middle of this. I'm going to call it a pot of winning. I mean, we're on the winning side of things right now, and he's not going to just up and leave while he's winning. Most coaches don't do that. Usually, they start to leave when they're sought out and they can't be effective in the game anymore. And he's the standard for the game. So I mean, it's just and not to use other people's things in life, but like if Jurgen Klopp is signing deals to be the head of global football for Red Bull, I just don't see Pep just wanting to leave. I know there's a bit of an age discrepancy there, but it just if he's still doing it, Pep's going to do it. That's what I think about it.
I'm glad you brought him up because that hypocrite ass mofo needs to be called out because this dude back when he was with Dortmund and when he was with Liverpool consistently banged on the multi-club model of ownership. And now what is he doing?
He's with a multi-club.
The ultimate multi-club model, which is Red Bull, who started all this shit. Yeah. And now you're the operating guy. You're the head dude for football operations for them. Could you be any more of a hypocrite, bro? Like, you did this all the time in press conferences. Anytime shit happened after a match or something didn't go your way in a match, and then when it benefits you, you're like, well, that's cool, but not that dude. Oh my God. Now I will say
we'll blame it on salinity.
That guy, man, like I'm so glad you mentioned him because I was just thinking in my head, we need to make sure we talk about Klopp's hypocrite ass tonight, and you segued perfectly into what's going on in my head, bro. Like, you're in my head. Exactly. But man, like that dude is what a clown, man. I say all that, and when the U.S. men's national team, so I'll eat some crow a little bit on that. I was all about him being the head coach over here for the U.S. men's national team when the time came. I knew he wouldn't, but he would. He's a hell of a coach. Let's be real about that. However, he's still a hypocrite. But he would have been our hypocrite at that time,
right?
And it's a different story.
It's different when it's ours, right?
Now, another piece of this Pep puzzle is what came out with Txiki about him retiring, and of course the ops were all, well, Pep's got to be leaving now too. He's not going to stay around with his boy gone, and he's not going to want to stay. So clearly, and they also were using that as evidence as that we really were guilty in all of this because he's leaving. So, but from everything I'm seeing, allegedly, this was planned, not planned. I don't know, but the Txiki decision is completely separate from Pep's decision. They are not the same person. They might be boys, which we all know, and they love working together. But just because one goes doesn't mean the other one's leaving, or vice versa.
May seem that way,
right?
It may seem that way. And let me just to go off of what you're saying. We were talking about this before we got on. Sometimes when either one of us writes posts, it's not exactly trying to get people and understand that there's context behind it. If you don't listen to us here, you're not going to get what we're saying through textual commenting or posts. You're just not going to understand or think. Lou Nesbitt, one of the guys down at Cap City Blues, great guy. I had put up the post about all of this, and he went on this long rant about how it was The writing's been on the wall for the longest time. Okay, we know that. It's there's been about a year of play and talk about the next move of what's going to go on with the front office and stuff like that. But like, yeah, context is everything, guys. If you're not,
So yeah,
yeah,
he's 60, I think now. He's earned the right to decide that he is ready to retire and relax. The
if he
man
wants to,
has, if he wants to, and there's no nefariousness behind it.
no,
There's no ulterior motives. He could just be like, you know what, y'all, I've had a great time doing this. I'm ready to go chill on the beach or the mountains or in a city that he loves, whatever he likes to do. He has earned the right and has plenty of money to go and do whatever the fuck he wants. So you've earned that shit, dude. You've been a magnificent sporting director for us. You've brought us new heights and utter joy as fans because of your stewardship of the club, along with everybody else that's been in charge. Farron, Caldoon, Shake, Pep, all those guys. But man, like, do you, man? Enjoy yourselves. We appreciate you. Thank you for hanging around and training a replacement. I love the fact that they're bringing in the new person mid-season to help learn the setup with the current structure that we have. That's
yeah.
good business. Again, having a night, a transition period with the guy in charge so he can learn from him. Be like, all right, cool. I just got to continue. They already got everything set up. I just got to not fuck it up because they're going to teach you everything. They're going to show you how we do business, and I'm sure the new guy will have great ideas and as will be a smart person. I trust 100% the club is going to hire a really smart, savvy um, guy who has good eye for talent and is able to assimilate and work within our current structure and leadership model. So
And
I'm
Sporting CP hasn't been a slouch club for what I mean. Granted, yes, they're a Portuguese club, but and there's only so many teams in Portugal, but it they've been a winning club for a very long time. I feel very confident in bringing somebody like that who that team has fed out a shit ton of talent over the last decade or more. So having him come in and fill in the spot, especially somebody who's younger, who's got more of a fresher taste on what's going on, being able to look out further, not see the old money part. Because I mean, there might have been that time where if he would have stayed another 10 years, who's to say that our money spending habits wouldn't have changed and that would have been detrimental to the club. I don't think he would have ever let it get there. I think he had too much respect and love for the club to even get to that point. But I'm saying it was a possibility that could have happened. Now that we've got somebody younger coming in, fresh eyes, fresh ears, fresh legs, fresh everything. Who's to say this isn't going to be a long stand for him,
mhm.
and he's going to do something great for our club and continue the greatness that we've got. Until
yeah,
proven otherwise, I'm good with
mhm.
it.
Yeah. The rumor right now is that we've identified Hugo Viana, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, as the likely successor to Txiki, and he's with Sporting CP. That club has put out, and like Colby mentioned, a ton of talent, so that he obviously knows what he's doing when it comes to identifying talent. I mean, they obviously have done well domestically. European competitions, it's harder for those Portuguese clubs to really excel because their best players keep getting poached for big money from
They've
the.
essentially become a farm league, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
into the bigger clubs, especially the Premier League, Bundesliga, and La Liga. So
Yep. So we will see if that is actually what transpires. That's the hot name right now. Everybody's on that, saying he's going to be it, but there's nothing official yet. So we'll see in the coming weeks, months, however it is, long until they announce it. But he seems to be the next sporting director. So we'll see. Um, so yeah, good stuff there, huh?
good shit.
Last little piece of city news, kind of a rumor that came out, and again, international break, so take this with a grain of salt. What seemed like it was the exact same thing that came out over the summertime with Stefan Ortega. wanting to be promised a number one role here at Man City, or he wants to be transferred out in January or in the summertime. We have no idea what he was promised when he re-signed and signed an extension over the summertime. Um, so again, this is not coming from him directly. This is just people's word of mouth saying what they think, I guess. The club has come out to their credit and said he's not leaving in January. We typically don't see outgoings in the middle of the year like that, especially because it's hard to find replacements of the same quality at that time that already know how to do things. And um, he is a top quality keeper and probably one of the best number twos you could possibly have. But with Ederson being here, he's not going to be number one. That's just how it is.
Unless he
And
wants to chase the bag. Unless
yeah,
Ederson wants to chase the bag. I mean, that's the only way he's getting in right now. And especially with his current play, there's cup competitions are all you're going to get, bud.
yep. And it used to be the Carabao Cup was we'd go to the end of it, so you get pretty decent number of games there. But now it's like we're ready to be out of that competition as early as possible,
Exactly.
technically. So it really only has you get the FA Cup and with the Champions League, typically we wrap up first within the first 4 matches. So you'd gotten 2. So there's not a lot of opportunities. And again, this might not be true. It might not. He might not be actually saying this. This might just people trying to stir up drama where there is none.
That typically happens around these times of the year. It's very common.
Exactly. So take that with a grain of salt. Another piece of news for City that we didn't have written down, but we talked about pre-show was came out today that Johnny Stones gets to be the captain for England for this window. So when they play tomorrow, he gets to wear the armband, which is great. We love seeing another one of our players who apparently are according to the other side, are just system players. But somehow all of them are captaining their national teams, but they're system players. They're not really that good.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to you, Johnny Stones. Pumped that you get to wear the armband
Super pumped
for England, man. That's gonna be great to see. You definitely earned that because you've been playing lights out ball for them and been a phenomenal teammate wherever you've gone. So great
You
honor
know,
for him.
you know who's getting honors who hasn't played lights out ball for England?
Who dat?
Fucking Cole Palmer.
Brr. As great of a season as he had in the Prem,
How do
I
you get
don't
English Player of the fucking year if you didn't fucking play? How does that work?
admit that just I saw that come across and I was like, I tried not to hate on Cole. I'm gonna hate on the people who made the decision because
Yeah.
the man hardly featured at the Euros because Southgate's an idiot and wanted to play Anthony Gordon and others in his position and Jared Bowen and players of that caliber, but wouldn't play Cole Palmer. So how do you get player of the year when you barely featured and didn't hardly play anything?
Make it make sense.
Somebody please help us with this one.
Make it make sense in the comments, please.
I really don't get it. I
Nick,
love you, Cole Palmer.
please
but
be our voice tonight if you can. But like Christ on a cracker, for what?
how?
How?
Before we jump to intermission and shift gears a little bit, last piece of City talk happened today, just about 2.5 hours ago. The City women wrapped up their Champions League campaign at home against Barcelona, which is the top team, reigning world European champions, dominating the Liga Femenina, whatever that's called over there in Spain. But they looked absolutely phenomenal against the best team in the world. They were by far the best team on the pitch. I watched the whole thing. The first half was utter domination. They should have beat them 5-0, and that's not an exaggeration. They were just phenomenal today. So shout out to the City women. Statement, landmark, win, put your flag saying we're here, we're ready to compete with the best. We are the best. And this is no longer a Chelsea Olympic Lyon and Barcelona competition. We are here to take that crown. Just absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't be more proud of the ladies, the way they played. The Gareth Taylors had a clear game plan. They were brave. Were fearless. They worked hard. All the things you love to see from a team. They did that today. So, ladies, chef's kiss. Great job beating up on Barcelona. Y'all took care of business, and we had a sellout. It was the biggest crowd ever at the Joy Stadium. So, well done, fans too, for showing up and showing out.
That last part.
Yeah.
That last
Absolutely.
part. Selling out of women's games. That's been a massive talk literally across the world and about how women are not getting the same type of money that men are getting. Well, start selling your stadiums out and, have 100 years worth of building a brand, and then maybe you'll be in the same place. I think it's pretty simple economics.
Nick, they got the female Holland in Bunny Shaw, bro. She scored today. She did her thing.
Yeah.
But had they been a little more clinical, you are spot on. They would have, like I said, it would have been 5-0 because they were that good today.
Well, we've gone into a little bit of overtime, or extra time, I should say. So we're going to get a break. When we get back, we're going to do crowd interaction for the rest of the night for the most part. And we're going to do a little bro talk. We had a question come in from a supporter last week about the MLS. We're going to be covering that. Also going to throw up t-shirt ad again. Yeah, we'll be right back after I press the button. God damn it, the music cutting out. So if you guys haven't seen, we have a store. It's right there. Yep, right there.
Scan that QR.
Scan that QR code to take you right into the store. One of our latest additions to the store. One that we have not seen anybody make yet, even though there are some people out there that like to take our design. This one in particular.
We see
you. One that nobody has done yet, and I'm very surprised. So if you haven't seen the preview for it before, I want to throw that up there for you guys real quick.
All Manchester City fans are glory hunting plastics. Every single one of them claims to have supported them since the 70s, even though they were only born in the 90s. But I'm willing to give Manchester City Plastics an opportunity to prove me wrong.
So there's that. You can check that out a little bit more further if you go ahead and hit that QR code right where I'm pointing.
Bro, that clowns. I love that ad, by the way.
Thank you.
Even though we've only been around since the 90s, bitch, in our logo it says 1894. Like,
I think what if you listen to the full clip though, he was talking about all the new fans that have claimed that they've been supporting them from the 70s, but they were born in the 90s. I was born in the 80s. I don't claim nothing.
What are you supposed to do if you're born in the 90s? You can't just be like, well, I've been liking them forever. You can't control when you were fucking born and when you start
Can't
following a
control
team.
where you were born at or when you were
When
born.
just the gatekeeping on who's allowed to like
Oh
who
my
is
God,
just
it's
out of
ridiculous.
control, bro.
It's so ridiculous. And they move it every time.
Oh, goalpost moving is a real thing.
Oh my God, dude. It's stupid. And honestly, who gave them that level of like what's the word? Entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get it. It's from your home shores. Sure. But you're not going to see any one of us over here take a dump on you for trying to watch American football. Like not once.
Nope.
Matter of fact, I don't even care if you don't like the team that I like. Let me help you learn the game. What don't you know?
And if you call it something different, I don't really care.
And I'm not going to
It's
scold
not a
you
big,
for it
and I'm not gonna
either.
be, and I'm not gonna be insulted that you're calling it something different.
No. First of all, you made up the fucking word and then you took it back.
And then want to criticize everybody on this side for using the word that y'all came up with.
Right.
How does that make sense?
Hypocrisy again. It is a funny talking
They
point.
want to. It really is because they want to like. Some people over there will feel like you want to like castrate you for saying the word soccer.
You made it. Do you know where it comes from? Does anybody that's in here that's watching, do you know where the word soccer comes from? Or what it means? If you do, drop it. Just drop in the comments that you do. If you don't, then I think it's probably best you hit the Google machine and start doing some research.
Info is there.
Info is 100% there. So we're gonna be fucking around with you guys for the rest of the night. For everybody who's in here, we see 12 people on X, 2 people on YouTube. If you're on X right now, hop over to YouTube. At least we can comment back and forth, make this fun. Otherwise, it's for nothing.
And there is a way on X to pull it up and open it so you can comment via X. That's possible.
There's that too. So yeah, we're gonna do some crowd work, if you will, tonight.
Some crowd work. I like the way you said that.
So to get that kind of started off, last episode, shouldn't say last week. I need to get that out of my mouth. I got to get used to the fact that we're going like every 3 to 4 days now. Last episode, there apparently he's been around here for a while, hanging out with us, and he just decided to comment last week. How he asked us about the MLS problems with it, the pyramid system, and David Beckham's vision for the future of the MLS. Joe, let's start with first the problem and then our problem with the MLS.
Problem for me with them is there's no incentive to perform well aside from finishing in the playoff positions. There's no penalty if you finish at the bottom. You still get all of the monies. You still keep your place. You don't have to, worry too much about anything. So for me, the biggest issue and the biggest problem MLS has is the fact that there's no promotion relegation. There is no partnership with the USL because there is a second division of football in America. It's the USL.
Actually, 3.
So the MLS is soon to have a 30th franchise next year. There's San Diego is getting a team. They are ready to go and will be starting play next season.
They're also the only city that's had a women's team before they've had a men's team.
Yep. So you have 30 franchises already.
Yeah.
And then they've steadily increased that number since 2015. They've added 12 franchises to the league. So in 10 years, they've exponentially grown quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So you have 30 now. In the Premier League, they only have 20. So you already got a setup and a model across the pond that works great. However, that would take a significant change in mentality from those ownership groups of American sports teams. They all are rightfully so happy with the money that they're making by owning these clubs because sports franchises values just continue to go up and up and up across across the board, no matter
Mhm.
how big or small the league is. It's a money
Or how
making.
big or small your franchise is.
Yeah, it's a money making thing. So they're very content making all the profits that they have, and then pocketing a lot of that. Some of them don't necessarily reinvest it into the
Yeah,
clubs
but
and
just about to say
teams.
that there's little reinvestment that goes back into these clubs.
So they don't. There's not a lot of incentive for them to change their mentality at this point. And they would have to agree to the promotion relegation system. And I just don't see the ownership groups being okay with the potential of dropping down a division and um, sacrificing the profits that come with having a secure place in the league, much like the setup that the Super League was going to have when that first came to light a few years back. That whole guaranteed spot in the thing for certain thing, first in the league for certain teams. So that's a big part of it. Colby has mentioned numerous times on the podcast that geography obviously plays a big role in this.
Massive part.
America is
Massive.
humongous.
Yes.
So we would have to increase the number of clubs still.
And they would have to come from very small towns to medium-sized towns to second-rate cities to obviously the first-rate cities that they're already in. It would take a lot for this country to even have to get to where we're at the promotion relegation place. Now, could it be done right now with the current 3 tiers technically that we have? Yes, it could. It could very well happen. However, it wouldn't look good when you have the same city and multiple different tiers of it. You know what I mean? And there's still cities that are just getting a team to begin with. So you'd have like fucking if you really wanted to do it right and you only wanted to use the major cities, you'd have to have like 8 teams in New York. Right? And then you would have to go up to smaller towns. So Boston would have to have 3 or 4. Then you go up to like Maine, right? Portland would have to have 1 at least.
They're getting a USL team.
Exactly. So. Pittsburgh, and they just got one, right?
Yep.
Pittsburgh, they've had a USL team for now, I think it's 12 seasons, 10 to 12 seasons. The market there doesn't even make sense because it's not a soccer town. It's not a football town. It's an American football town. And the sports that are established there. And that happens not just in Pittsburgh, but in all other small markets across the United States. So trying to push this game into the purview of the average American is really what it's going to have to take in order for that step to even be in anywhere a fantasy. I mean, right now it's just way out there. There's no way. I'm not going to say no way. I'm not going to say that because we've got Club World Cup coming to the States. We've got World Cup coming to the States the year after. This is going to be a great time for football in America. Could this spark up new interest and stuff like that? Absolutely. If I'm being honest, the small little town of Berryville, Virginia, 10 minutes down the road from me, it's literally in the middle of nothing. They want to start a program because they understand the growth of the game here in America. It's not to say that there isn't. It's grown plenty fast, but at the rate in which to have a pyramid type scheme, it's going to be another 75 to 100 years before that's even a thought or even a reality.
Yeah, that all spot on. When we say problems, these are the things that we see. However, the sport itself is tremendously growing in the States. 100% it's growing. The MLS is getting better. It's taking a little bit of time, but this is because when they first started the league, it was so piss poorly done and mismanaged.
And it wasn't even meant to be a proper league. It was supposed to be like the XFL of the game.
Yeah. So they were behind the 8 ball from the jump because of how it was set up and how it was run early on. It's getting much better. It's still kind of seen around the world as like a second, third tier league, where
A retirement league now.
aging stars go to boost their brand to make a little cash, but the impact that Messi has had on the league itself is bringing new eyes to the league, younger eyes to the league, because they all want to watch Messi. They
Right.
want to see him. So they're now taking more of an interest in the league itself. We see that in the fact that Inter Miami is now opening up and working on building a gigantically awesome, beautiful football specific campus and recreational center. That's almost $1 billion that they're putting together for this new facility down in Miami. That's so previously there was not that kind of dollars going into these projects.
No.
Nowhere close to that. So the fact that they're investing that much into this tells you Miami, especially Inter Miami, especially, who's a fairly new franchise. They came around in 2019, 2020, somewhere around there, that they see that this is going to continue to grow, and they're trying to take advantage of the new interest that's going to come based on the two big tournaments that Colby mentioned next summer and then the following summer. The interest and everything is just going to skyrocket when those
and we're going to we're going to go back to geography here, because people need to understand just the amount of culture that Miami has succumbed to. I mean, you literally have the entire Caribbean, and then beyond that, Central and Northern South America. They've all, at one point or another, have refuged or decided we want to move to America, and that's where we're living. So there is a massive demographic that they're missing there. They finally caught on to when Beckham put this franchise in. I remember going down there just a couple of seasons ago to help my dad. He actually lives right next to the pink, whatever the fucking stadium it's called. In just a year's time, I saw what just that campus there, how it evolved.
Mm-hmm.
To say it's not growing, and if they that was, I'm pretty sure that was a reused stadium. I think it was for something else at some point in time.
Yep.
And they just revamped it. The fact that they're going down to Miami Gardens, because right now this campus that they have is not in Miami at all. It's actually in the next county up, called Broward County, in a town called Pompano. They're moving down to Dade County into Miami Gardens, right next to where Hard Rock is.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a $1 billion project being put into this league, if that's not a sign of things to come, I don't know what is. You also look at all the newer teams that have just put in soccer specific stadiums: Nashville, Cincinnati, Columbus's new one.
Yep.
It's Austin, right? The game is growing. It's just not growing at a rate that is conducive. Not only that, but you're having to compete with leagues like the Premier League, like the Bundesliga, like La Liga, with big names in all of them. You know, the kids aren't just focused on Messi. They're starting to see the Hollands, the Fodens, the Xavis, the Musialas. And it's only because of recent that we've been able to have the access to the game the way that we do. So I find it funny when people kind of throw shade at us, calling us armchairs. Well, the fucked up thing is that we get to watch every game and you don't. So not to be an asshole, but like you can't throw shade at us when we have more opportunity than you at this point to see a match. And that's not because of anything other than marketability. Sorry, your government fucked you at this point, but like you can't throw that at us anymore. We're just as devoted into this specific, well, for us obviously the specific club, but this league, in the sport. Like, I don't know. I just, going back to growth in the United States with a game.
One of the other pieces to mention with MLS is that when the season actually happens, it runs from end of February, early March through October. It takes like a month off in the summertime for the Leagues Cup, which is a competition between the MLS and the Liga MX's clubs, where they have like a tournament style competition for 4 weeks. There is competition for viewership for the MLS currently because in springtime you got baseball, you got and then in the fall,
Well, and that's also playoff season for two other
yeah,
sports,
exactly,
for NHL and for the NBA. So, I mean,
yeah, and then come September, October, American football is still the most popular sport here, and takes a lot of viewers' attention. Um,
but it only does it for 1 day a week, 2 days a week, really,
right,
unless you're
and
watching the Thursday night game.
yeah, because most of the games in the MLS are on Friday and Saturday nights. They all kick
Same thing
off
with
usually
USL.
around, yeah, they kick off around between 7 and 10 p.m. depending on where you are in the country. So the Apple deal also, that's where you can watch all these matches, is there's some good and bad there. Apple has for me, when I've watched the games on Apple, had no problem streaming. I think the production quality is great, but it is behind a fairly significant paywall. You have to one,
Yes.
you have to have the Apple subscription, and then two, which is a monthly fee, and then you also have to buy the MLS pass as well to get the game. So you're then spending another 150, $200 for the season to be able to watch the game. So it's good and bad
The
with
fact
that.
that we have more accessibility even through paywalls to watch the Premier League, we should be getting the MLS for free. How are you going to market this game if you're making people pay for it? I can understand the Premier League, I can understand Bundesliga, I can understand La Liga, right? But we get those on our normal channels at this point. Why aren't we seeing localized MLS teams get primetime spots on their local channel? Like, why aren't we seeing DC United on Fox 5?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Until it
part
gets to
of
that point,
yeah.
it's just not going to be. It's not going to be taken serious enough to even think, oh, we're going to put this into a pyramid scheme now. We're going to combine all these leagues. We're going to do promotion and relegation. It would be chaos to people over here. Absolute chaos.
Part of
Until people know the rules and it's passed down a generation, I don't feel like it's going to get implemented into U.S. soccer because it's a money grab over here.
Exactly. Speaking of money grab, we talked about Messi coming in and being a big boost to the league.
Massive money grab.
Part of his contract and why people are having to pay, I think, for the MLS pass for Apple is because Messi's getting a big old chunk of the Apple sponsorship.
He gets a part of the revenue of the ticket sales for every city he goes to.
And he's getting paid from Apple too, from all these things. So
and Adidas.
Yeah. So he's awesome contract for you.
Amazing.
Great job, sir.
Amazing.
This is also why he came here and not to other places, is because it's the growth and ability to market himself in a much more comfortable lifestyle than Saudi Arabia.
Right. Not as constrictive.
Yeah. So it made a lot of sense as to why he came here instead. So it's think of that. I guess was it Sun that puts on the games over there. Think of paying your subscription to them, like your $5-10 a month, whatever it might be, and then having to spend another large sum of money to actually get the games.
Right.
That's the setup that Apple TV has currently.
But if you think about it, it's not structured any different than the NFL ticket.
True, absolutely. It's one of the models on this side of the pond that this is not new for us. So we're used to it at this point. So
right. And and we feel, honestly, hearts go out to you guys, the fact that like you don't have a way to on your Fire Sticks or your Apple TVs or what have you, your smart TVs, you don't have a way to view something like a whole season or even get a a la carte type package where you pay for your team only. Well, I've been discussing that for the NFL ticket with a couple of my buddies. Why don't they do it a la carte? Why do I have to buy all 300 something games or however many are in the NFL season now that there's an extra week? Why can't I just pay for the 18 weeks of said team and pay this amount for it instead? Have to pay like $400 to watch 31 other teams that I don't want to watch.
Pre-Champions League being on Paramount Plus, the Champions League was on Bleacher Report.
Ooh.
And they had a similar setup where you weren't paying for an account or for the service. You just signed up for a free account, and then you could do that. You would just pay for the game that you wanted to watch. It would be $2-3 for the game.
That's fucking awesome.
But the quality was so shit that it didn't last. But they tried it, and I love that option, being able to, I don't need to have a subscription. I can just buy the City game because I don't care. I'm not watching all these other games. There's not enough time in the day with all the other shit I got going on. I'm not watching the other Champions League matches. Sorry. I care about my team.
Right.
So if I could just pay, $2-3 for my match, great. That sounds perfect. But like I said, when Bleacher Report was doing it, the buffering was nonstop. The quality of viewing was terrible. The people commenting weren't great. So it went away pretty quick, and a bigger streaming service came in and swooped up and took it. But so the model was there at one point. It's doable. It's just people, the money thing. It's easier to charge a flat rate. And
listen, with your job, you need to find a way to get in with meetings with channel executives, so then we can start throwing these ideas at them and making some money off it. I'm just saying,
working my way up the ladder. We'll get there eventually. We'll get there eventually. So we kind of talked a little bit about Beckham's vision. That's when he came. He was promised the ability to buy an expansion club for a pretty cut rate deal. So he's very heavily, clearly invested in the future of the MLS and growing the sport here as an ownership piece. And he's doing a great job of it down in Miami. The value of the franchise is just skyrocketed since he's taken over and under his stewardship. So while it's not growing rapidly as far as MLS goes, and I guess the vision that he has, it is moving along on a steady pace. So it'll get there. The MLS will get there eventually. It's already gotten moved up. It used to be a really bottom league across the world. It's moving up, and it's more. I think at the last World Cup, the MLS sent the fourth or fifth most players across all leagues in the world. So there's talent here. It's just going to take some time. So there's the MLS talk for you.
There's the MLS talk for you. Fucking, I it still gives me the cringe though. At the end of the day, how do you not look after the model of a almost 300-year-old game and see the development of the late 1800s into the 1900s and see how they've done it then? I mean, and let's be real, I don't think a lot of people understand or know the fact that the United States has had multiple leagues previous to the MLS ever being a thing. And they've just all failed. And it's not for any other reason than where it really began was pre-World War II. There was a league that was doing really well. There were really big names apparently at the time that were being brought over here to play. The war happened and the game fizzled. Every time it would try to regenerate itself into a new league or multiple leagues trying to form into one league, that was the case once, at least twice, during our history of it over here. So, I mean, it's just it's not for trying and it's not for whatever. There's definitely a pool of people over here that love and enjoy the game and have been in it much longer than we have even. But there hasn't been this type of push. We also didn't have the internet quite the way that we do now. I mean,
Game changer right there.
25 years ago, we didn't have the option to sit here and talk to, a screen to each other about the game. This was, you were lucky if you got a phone call.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Times have changed. The game will change here. It will change. It will grow. It will become something bigger. It's just going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort, because the powers that be right now, it's all about the money. And we all know and have griped time and time over, whether it be our side or the other side. That's not what the game's about. The game's not about money. It's about winning. It's about glory. It's about this, that, the other. Until it's not that, and it's looked at more in a gentlemanly fashion. If you get what I'm trying to say, the way that it's looked at over there, I just don't see the evolution happening in the near future.
It's gonna take time.
It's going to take some time.
It's a massive change that would need to happen, and anytime that kind of
and a culture change too.
Yeah, transformational change is not a quick process.
Yeah, and speaking of culture, as two people who have kids who play in the grassroots level here in America, there are so many parents that are brainwashed over here that have taken the Americanized route on the game. I got into it with Megan a little bit about this, because I constantly correct their verbiage, and I'm like, he's not a goalie, okay? Goalies, they play hockey.
Yep. Goalies
play hockey. Keeper's real quick and real simple, right? She had thrown the phrase out at me, we're in America, this is what we say here. And I'm like, so you're going to tell me that a game that's been going on over there longer than anywhere else, it's okay for us to make up our own words, but everybody else follows suit? No, that's not the way that works, Megan. If you honor and respect the game over there, then you'll use the verbiage that's given. You don't get to just make up your own shit just because you're American and you don't have a word for it, so you find the closest thing to it. No. There's already a vocabulary. Learn it. You want to be a part of something, learn it. You don't get to just make shit up. And that's big across all of the sport in America. Is we've tried to make it our own. Well, it's not our own. We didn't make it up. Football, the NFL, we can do that with. We made that shit up. It was a pool of like 3 or 4 different games, but we made that shit up so we could. Baseball too. That's okay. Yeah. But like hockey came from Canada, right? You don't say America. How many people have American terms? I can understand like Russian terms, right? It's just an evolution of something you've heard before, or you've heard through the American or Canadian slang. Mm-hmm. You're just saying it in Russian. You know what I mean? You got to respect the game from where it comes from. You can't just make it yours because you don't know any better. That's not okay. It's not okay behavior. I understand why a lot of people across the pond maybe get a little upset in the way that people talk about the game, because it's just like, dude, like we spent hundreds of years developing this game and you guys are just, I'll do what I want with it. No. Be respectful. That's my thing. Just be respectful to everything that's been paid before us.
Agreed. Couldn't agree more. Use the right terminology.
Comments. You got anything for us tonight?
It doesn't seem like it, which is okay.
It's fine.
This is our first one where we're actively looking for more engagement, so y'all will get better at it. I have no doubt about it. Did you see, just to kind of get us through for the next 10 or so minutes, did you see Holland's presser where he pretty much said
he didn't give a fuck
about throwing the ball at Gabrielle's head? He was like, I don't really regret a lot of shit in my life.
No,
like, I don't give a shit. It happened. I was hyped up on the field. I don't care that I did it. I was like, dude, never change, bro. Please
all,
continue to.
all of us as like children and growing up playing sports, we all wanted to do that at some point, and he did it.
Yeah, and
He did it.
no apologies
No
whatsoever,
apology
which is great.
whatsoever.
Please don't apologize for that shit. That was
Never apologize for that.
that was
Oh man,
great.
that was good fun. I liked seeing that. I love every time I see him in the comments or not the comments in a presser or an interview. He's always got some out of pocket shit to say, and it always comes with a good shit or a fuck with it. And I'm like,
Yes.
we need more people like you in life. Cursing all the time is not cool. Even though I do it, it's not cool because it makes you look dumb, right? But he does it at the right time. He nails it.
Smart guy for a
He,
younger dude.
right? He is very smart. I don't think you can get to that point and not be smart. If you're dumb, who's gonna pick you up? Nobody wants to hang out with a dumb guy.
No.
No.
Last piece of city stuff. Did you Zubimendi has been one of the names linked to us.
What is that? What does Zubimendi do?
He kind of people were asking him about the links to Manchester City and potential move here, and he plays for Real Sociedad. Said there are always rumors, but so far I've always thought that the best solution for me is staying at Real Sociedad. I still have a lot of things to give to this club. I still want to grow and develop here. The big piece that people were running with was the first part of that quote was, until now I have thought that pretty much he was saying like, I thought I was all good to go being here, but these new city rumors are making me like rethink that I do want to go over there. But people are just being people with running with quotes. You know how they do. But that was one that was trending on X, which was his potential move in January. He's a great player. I just don't see the January move happening. So
because again, we don't really make mid-season moves ever.
Big facts.
So
okay, rapid fire questions.
Oh shit! Here we go.
For you.
Here we go.
This or that.
This or that.
Quick
What?
here. First one: coffee or tea?
Okay. Tea's garbage water. We know that. Coffee.
Okay. There we go. Beach vacation or mountain getaway?
Can I have both?
No.
Can they be in the same place?
No.
Well, the only place that really happens is California, and I'm not for it. So, I'm gonna have to go mountains.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, I like being enclosed. The beach is fun, right? But like the beach is I'm going to party for the week, or you're gonna find me drunk somewhere, probably on the beach. My fucking my ass ain't gonna be in the sand. It's gonna be my face. Yeah. I think for me growing up, that was our summer vacation as we went to the beach. Like we didn't do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't look at the beach and not think party or like fun or like, you know what I mean? Like I for me, it's not a recharge. It's I'm going to go have the best time of my life. Yeah.
Yep. Dogs or cats?
Fuck cats.
There's your answer there, folks. Early bird or night owl?
Both? Oh man, that depends. If I had my choice of which I'd rather be, it would probably be an early bird.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to lie to anybody in here that I miss my years of staying up till 3, 4 in the morning and not giving a fuck because I didn't have to get to work till 5.
Yes.
So it's kind of a, oh man, I don't know. I'm gonna go early bird. I get more shit done.
True.
Yeah.
Sweet or savory?
Oh, dude, I'm a chocoholic, bro.
The sweets.
Sweets are where it's at. That's no, but like umami. If anybody knows what umami is, I mean, it's when you combine all the flavors, and it's amazing. That's me.
That's me.
That's me.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction. Nonfiction. I some of the best stories growing up that were fiction were like, Willy Wonka and Wizard of Oz and stuff like, and I just don't feel like you can beat that. So like, why am I going to still chase that? For me, it's not, I don't know. Can you relate taking in knowledge as a high?
I think you can.
Right. Okay. Cool. So that's why. Non-fiction. Learning new shit about real things that really happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'll take that.
Tell me more.
City life or countryside?
I've turned into the country boy, bro. I've turned into a country boy. I used to love city life growing up. The accessibility, the amount of things that were going on, the endless possibilities of those things. As I've gotten older and I've become a parent, I like my space. I certainly like when it's quiet.
Yes.
I don't particularly like, because I live right next to an interstate, I don't particularly like hearing motor vehicles anymore. Yeah. Out of nowhere, there's somebody just plowing down my fucking road, or somebody trying to get onto the highway, and I'm just like, bro, can we quit the whole rice burner thing? Like, if we could just get rid of that phase, that would be really cool. If you're gonna do it, like, that's all fine and good, but like, take it to a fucking track. We have plenty of those around here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Comedy or drama?
I like a good dramedy.
Ooh,
No.
combining the two.
Bro.
I like where you're at.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Dude, I like having the best of both worlds. If I'm gonna choose something, though, I'm gonna choose a smile over a frown. So comedy.
There you go. Summer or winter?
Winter. I am not a summer person. I hate the hot. I hate the humidity. Winter. If
There's only so much layers you can take off.
exactly.
I can always add more layers and cuddle up under my blanket. And
Exactly. Dude, there's nothing.
Fire, whatever.
There is nothing better than getting under a slightly chilled blanket and you warming it up, and then it being cozy, and you're just like, yeah.
I like warm hugs.
I love warm hugs. I also have a weighted blanket.
Those are the best.
Yeah, it's a heavy one too.
Last rapid fire, books or movies?
Movies.
Amen to that, brother.
Yeah. I would love a book if I'll be straight up with everybody in the world. My reading comprehension as a child was not so good. So like, me sitting there trying to read a book and like and see the shit in my head, it barely worked out.
Mm-hmm.
If I can see what you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, then I'll get the story more. And then it might make me want to read the book, because then I'll get the extra details I didn't get.
There you go.
Ass backwards and everything, I know.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well, I don't have any of that for you, so I feel like
okay.
I feel like I should run it back on you, but we are at an hour and a half, so
that's what we're shooting for. That got us through there, so I think that's perfect.
Yeah. We're just about 2 minutes till. Any last comments before we leave? Everybody wanted to show up as we're leaving. It's funny.
Yeah. I know. What can you do?
What can you do?
Well, now that you're here and listening, do us a solid, because we're going to be wrapping up here in a minute. Get the link either from X and retweet it. Grab that link from YouTube or Rumble. Put it on your Facebook, on your Instagram. Put it in your story. Find a way to share the episode, because rewatches are just as good as being here live. Drop a comment when you're watching it on YouTube. Please don't forget to hit the like when you are watching on said places.
That
The little heart button on X, all that good stuff.
What is that?
But
Wait.
biggest thing, please go ahead and share out our stuff. That's the biggest way y'all can help. It doesn't take very long. It's 2-3 seconds. Quick little share. It doesn't gotta be in depth. You don't have to be fancy with it. Just shout out to Evan over at Citizens Fancast. He retweeted our episode out recently, and
I'm pretty sure he does it like all the time.
Pretty much every episode, he's on his IG sharing it on his story anytime we have an episode. So, Evan, greatly appreciate you, brother. Always.
Also, I miss you.
That too.
I miss you. I want to know when that baby's coming. If you're watching,
hit us up. Text us, please.
Let us know. You got our numbers.
We'll do better with that too because we have.
Yeah, we're not going to. I'd go days without talking to Joe. Oh, look at that. He showed up. There he is. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, bro. Really do.
Hell yeah, man.
Wait, did that come in from X? It did. Oh.
Yes, see, it's got the different logo on there.
Nice.
See?
So you can comment on X.
See, it's possible.
Oh my God. Okay.
Thank you, Evan, for doing that from there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for showing everybody they can do that. All 2070 is. You better be fucking subscribed to us now.
And while you're here, do that for Evan as well.
Do that for him too, because he's awesome.
And hit his page and follow his stuff too, please. Please.
He's very knowledgeable. I really enjoy the way that he talks about the game. He's kind of like it's not quite as animated as Steve, but he's like an American Steve.
And he likes to drop haymakers on X from time
yes,
to time.
He does.
They're very funny. I love it. It's very like tactical. He comes in out of nowhere. It's like, boom, here's a jab, and I'm like, dude, Evan, yeah, bro.
He's the guy you can count on if you get into a back alley brawl. He'll be standing way back, and he'll fly in with a fucking flying sucker punch.
We see you. We know your game, bro.
He's sneaky Wisconsin boy. Oh man, we gotta get up there, man. We gotta go visit him and get some cheese curds and some Culvers and
give me all of that.
Yeah, bro. We didn't even come close to the good stuff as far as food.
Mm-hmm.
Small but scrappy, absolutely. That's what I'm saying, man. He'll fly out of nowhere, fucking fly a haymaker, whap.
Love it.
Oh, all right. We went into 2 minutes of stoppage time. I'm gonna blow the whistle as soon as I can find it.
There it is.
Until Sunday, guys, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us for the rest of the evening. Could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. We super appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you hit the subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bells. And make sure that you get on our social media at SnobbyPod and you follow us. Follow our content. Also, if you're on our Instagram, please, if you're paying attention to the story, just can you hit the heart? That would be so cool. There's like 2 people who do it constantly. We've already shouted them out 100 times. So, Steve, thank you. Always doing it. Anyways, this one was on my mind this weekend, and I wanted Aiden to use it, but he got a little embarrassed, so he didn't. So I don't have to. I'm gonna fuck with the lyrics, but this is what I'm gonna leave you all on.